Hi, I'm Miriam, one of the physiotherapists here at Fit for Life Physiotherapy. Today we're going to talk about a squat, more specifically a sumo squat or a wide-legged squat. I find that some people who might be limited in their hip mobility or their lower back mobility have a hard time with a regular squat, being with your feet hip width apart and squatting down. They might find that they can't get very deep into their squat. So to help with that, if you put your feet wide and turn your toes out a little bit, it creates a little bit of space in the hips so that when you squat down, you're going to let your knees direct outwards and you get a little more mobility, a little more freedom in the hips to move. I also find that it actually is a great mobility exercise for the hips because it's taking the hip joint into different ranges of motion, into some external rotation. We're going to feel a little bit of even a little bit of a stretch through the inner thighs. We're going to feel a little bit more of these outer hip muscles firing up a little bit. The other thing that's great about this sumo squat or wide-legged squat, it's very functional. So it's really going to make it easier for picking things up off of the floor when your feet are wide and pulling yourself up. So when working on adding a squat to your strength training routine, and this is so important, adding this resistance training, strength training to our everyday lives. It's important for our bone health, it's important for our muscle health, and just for overall function, keeping us moving as we age. So start with, if you haven't been doing anything at all, start with no weight at all. That you're going to start with 10 squats, where you're going to move in and out of this position, thinking about knees being directed over your toes, and you'll see that I'm really hinging at my hips still, so that I'm not trying to stay upright like this. I'm hinging at my hips, sticking my bum out, but keeping my legs nice and wide. So if you find that doing this squat, you can do 10 of them, 15, 20, and it feels really easy, well, you need a little bit of weight. So whether you have some dumbbells, kettlebells, maybe you're just gonna fill a grocery bag full of cans or bags of milk that you can hold to the center here and doing your squat with that weight. Make sure you have enough weight to make a difference. If you hold on to a weight, whether maybe you start with 10 pounds and you can do 10 or 15 of those without any difficulty, that's probably too easy for you. You want to feel that the resistance that you add makes it a challenge, so that by the time you get to that maybe 8th, 9th, 10th repetition, you're ready to be done. And then you know that you've got the right amount of weight. You can even go a little heavier to do if you want to have some heavy lifting that is going to really have a stimulus to the bone, that even when you get to the point of, when you get to 6 repetitions and that weight you're ready to stop, you've got a good challenge. So start with where you're at, begin with no weight at all, and when you find that, this is pretty easy, grab some dumbbells, grab a kettlebell. If you don't have that equipment, get a bag of some cans or some groceries. Find something that has a little bit of weight and add that to your squat. Try fitting that in 2 or 3 times a week, maybe doing 3 sets of whatever repetitions you're starting with. It could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 10. But making sure that by the end of that 6th, 8th, or 10th repetition, you're ready to stop and you couldn't do any more. If you can, find a little more weight. If you have any concerns about this exercise when you started and it doesn't feel right, then talk to one of your physiotherapists and they'll help get you started on the right path.